red booty sleeves. Bruh, I want. She says some shit too. Some one of her
Bro,
known
ready up,
catchphrases.
bro, cause I'm not switching, bro.
Yo, T's talking to you wild.
Nah, he's not talking to me.
Oh.
You stupid.
I thought you were talking to E. I'm like, damn, nigga, you gonna let him talk to you?
I'm streaming. If you want to, you
It
can
was this
watch on
one
your
time
phone.
I was in
On
this
your
party,
phone,
right?
Ski. On the
And all the girls
phone.
saying,
We'll see about that. I'm playing a game.
"You playing those trash ass games."
Hey man. Hey man. I
This
don't
face
talk
is
to you. I
so.
don't talk
This
to you
face is
about your
ugly.
needs, nigga.
Oh my god, why she texting me, bro? No, 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 no,
Oh
no,
no.
no, no,
Nigga got off do not disturb. It's over. She been
no.
watching your ass.
I'm
She
about
been
to put
waiting for
that
you
do
to get
not
off that
disturb
realize
shit.
back
you do
on.
realize putting do not disturb on doesn't stop her from everyone can still message you. It's just you're not gonna see it.
Or I can block her. She can
You
still
could.
message
You
Yeah,
me.
you
could
could block
block,
her.
yeah.
Search
That
continues in
probably
Like
would
I
be the
Winnebago
did.
best
County
thing.
for a missing
I
University
was
of
one time
Texas
I
student.
blocked her
The
before because
sheriff's
she was being
department
annoying. She
says
kept going in
Maria
my party. I
Flores,
tried playing
a
my
native
friend.
of
I blocked her
Uvalde,
for
was
like a
last
long
seen near the
time,
town of
and
Newt.
then she
The
had
vehicle
blocked
Oh,
was
me.
recently discovered abandoned, with
and then you
officials
unblocked
reporting
her.
no signs of foul
Yeah,
play. Authorities are hopeful that
Mm.
the expanded search into
I
nearby
might just do that
communities of
again.
Harlow and Chinatown
Man, I
will
just
unearth new leads. Family and
Let's do
friends
it.
are urging anyone with information
unblock her, bro.
regarding her disappearance to
Let me
please
see.
come forward.
Damn, she don't
The
get the
brutal
hint,
attack on
clearly.
Block. Alright. Now I just gotta wait for her to unblock, for her to block me.
She's not getting the hint.
Yeah, she don't.
I think she probably likes your ass. That's why she's trying to see what you're doing.
And I don't. And I don't.
You don't like.
She's trying to hit on my friends. You see,
Oh
that's the
nah, see
reason.
now that's where. Yeah. Oh no, she's for everybody. Then
That's
that's not
crazy.
it.
You're right by me. That's crazy.
That's sick. She is for the team. I guess you're right.
Hey, stay here, bro.
The
We out, T.
view.
Alright,
We out here. We
I'm coming. I'm coming.
outside. Yeah.
Who's by me?
It's me, Connie.
Oh, it's just
Connie
good.
went over there.
Oh, I got this girl by me right now.
Nigga's risen.
Shut up, bro. Dang.
This door's open.
Girl.
Where?
Right there.
I don't see the door.
Nigga, where you
Oh,
at?
just
Open the door.
I'm not. I'm about to unlock the door.
Open
Here,
the door.
chainsaw, bro.
Yes.
Whoa! I'm by a girl right now. You unpick lock the door. Oh my god, he just moved. I just opened the door by just moving.
Thank goodness it's you.
Alright, come on. This you by me?
No.
Come on. Come on. I gotta find
Well,
something I can use.
I'm up in the house right now.
Go ahead and run. That's the
Nah, I'm outside.
This might lead to the others. Just think, there's got to be a way out.
Shut up! Oh my god, I just made so much noise. Where you at, bro? Oh my god, where's the girl? Where's the girl? Where's the girl? Where's the girl? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
I'm going up there.
You outside right now?
Yeah.
I'm in the bushes right now. Chainsaw Massacre is out here.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, I see him too. I'm in the bushes. Ooh. Oh, I see the killer. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my
Here
god.
you go, Grandpa.
I forgot they can see you in the bushes too.
Yeah, it's daytime.
Nigga, I'm dead.
All right.
Unlock that gate over there.
Come on. Oh, you coming to us?
Yeah, no one's coming. I'm watching you back. They might be coming.
Keep watching. Keep watching me.
I'm
almost done.
watching.
And then come my mount. Or I can just push them and then gone.
It's locked.
All right, got it. You good?
Alright.
We out. Oh, close the door. Open it. Come on. Hurry up. Come on. Oh my God.
Let me open it.
Who the hell it's are these people?
We out.
That's so stupid, man. They really gotta do better with Xbox, bro. There's no way.
PlayStation 2. There should be a game that you can play with everyone, to be honest. This shouldn't be a game specifically only for one console.
They just want niggas. They want niggas to pay.
What is he doing?
This is me, nigga. I'm waiting for the killer.
Wait, so we escaped already? We should stay.
Yeah, we could have been escaped. I'm waiting on the killer.
Where is she going? She going back. Oh my God. Oh, I hear them. Oh wow. I'm ready to push. The first one I see.
Yeah, push one when they come. Push one.
I have to find the others.
Oh.
They're beating someone up. Yo, T, go save the last person. Go save the last person. Oh, nah, you can't. Well, I think he's coming.
Y'all are funny.
They're never
Yeah, I
gonna
wish
guess
I
that
could
I'm right
play.
here. Tune into the
Sad.
street, bro.
Huh?
Okay, fine. I guess you're right.
Look, T.
I'll tune into the stream.
What?
I'm gonna sit right here the whole time. I'm gonna sit for a minute. I'm gonna wait for them. I'm gonna wait for
pushing
Grandpa to
her.
get to level 5.
I'm pushing them and then I'm escaping. She just blew out cover, bro. She's done.
I play with
I'm
someone
pushing
else.
one of them and
Yeah,
now I'm escaping.
randoms. Nah, she ain't blow out cover. She did the right thing. She's good.
No, Grandpa saw her.
So?
No.
I want them over here. Push them. Push them when they come. They coming.
Come here, boy. I'm out. Come on.
Thank God. I think I can get help.
Oh yeah. They on that.
They're gonna sit right here now. I'm gonna sneak right by them. Watch.
Oh, he's guarding it. Oh, no.
I'm out.
He's really run. Bro, they is. How did they not see? I-
I don't know what that was,
Nigga,
but I was
this
trying to
nigga-
send hearts.
Please don't let
They're
me.
trying to fucking come and get me right now. Better not. They're just sitting there. They're just sitting there.
Those middle fingers? I didn't mean to send those.
No, those are thumbs up.
Middle
What's
finger?
up? What's up? What's up, neat? Oh, my chest.
Yes, sir.
Why are you limping, nigga? What happened to you?
Cause we're trying to escape from already being injured, so our health is going down a little by little as we're trying to escape the killers. So we're starting off hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, cause like I think they heard us already.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we start off hurt. So that's why everybody's every single character.
Oh,
Oh, hell no, that's crazy. Niggas make you play like in the middle of the shit.
Damn,
but that nigga almost sliced and diced me, bro. When I pushed him I pushed the nigga on the ground. His other friend
I seen
started
that. That character's OP though. You should be able to push everybody and keep it pushing.
Now, if there was all three of them coming, then I probably would have pushed all three of them. Man. But the chainsaw guy, if I would have pushed him, he would have got stuck a little bit and started running after me. Cause he don't get stunned a lot.
Okay, we got Cook, Johnny, Leatherface. Those are the three killers. No sissies. Sissy is annoying as fuck.
I'm about to get my skill point. I got skill points. Might upgrade. Oh my god.
Who?
Oh, so the family of them
Puerto
niggas
County
that
for a missing University
kill
of
you.
Texas student.
Yeah.
The sheriff's
In
department
the
says Maria
movie too,
Flores,
in the
a native of
chainsaw.
Uvalde, was last seen
Yeah,
near
the
the town of
movies too.
Newt. Her vehicle was recently
Wait, so
discovered abandoned,
y'all
with
do y'all
officials
choose
reporting no
to
signs of
do you
foul
choose
play.
to be the
Authorities are
family of the
hopeful
victims,
that
or is it
Yeah.
random?
Yeah, we can choose to be the
We can choose to be the killers if you want to.
Yeah.
Family and friends are
Oh, that's
urging
tough.
anyone with
Oh,
information
shit.
regarding
But I like to be
disappearance
human
please
because I
come
like to
forward.
escape.
The man believed to be responsible.
Yeah, these motherfuckers, the family is fucking. Who's picking the lock?
I could be something. I could be someone else, but not freaking massacre. Not
Oh,
Leatherface.
no.
Cause he spawns in the basement and he runs real slow.
Lead to the others.
Fuck that. Oh shit, y'all hung up there. What the fuck?
Huh?
Y'all was just hanging up there.
Yeah.
Wait, how are you even seeing?
He's streaming.
Oh.
I'm just speculating. But yeah, nah,
What's that?
this is cool.
I don't know what this is.
I'm already pick locking so I can get my door open.
Come on. I gotta find something I can
Alright, we
use.
good. Let me get this so I can kill Grandpa. I hear chainsaw.
I know.
Oh, I just opened the door.
Just keep moving, Connie.
Oh damn, nigga, you went in a secret room. Oh hell no, that room looks crazy with there's some fucking killers in
Oh, I
there.
hear a chainsaw right next to me.
How do you know if they're near you?
Chainsaw is his chainsaw.
Oh, you can hear.
Yeah, you can hear.
Oh,
Somebody woke up Grandpa.
I know a door must be open.
that was your ass, nigga.
And like, you know,
I
if
ain't
they're
opened the
close
door yet.
by.
That bitch looks like Ice Spice. Why she looking like Ice Spice?
Chill out.
Nigga sad. She a body. She showing her panty.
Eh,
She
He's
shaking like
hey.
jelly. On the bed, on the thing. I'm so freaking out in the belly.
What door is open?
Crack,
side
crack,
garden.
crack. You know what it is?
By who?
This will
Gonna
help.
pour. So I know what you dirty, dirty.
By the side garden entrance.
I hear a chainsaw.
This looks safe. It'll help.
Oh, that nigga's oh, he's right there.
It's stuck
He
to
went
it.
downstairs.
Thank you.
Y'all are injured as fuck. This bitch been holding her spleen for like 20 minutes.
The,
Hey yo,
She
what
about-
door is open? What door is open?
Die.
the side entrance. I said it like 30 times.
Where? Oh, that side entrance right there.
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm running to that right now. Ooh, I just made so much noise.
So you can tackle him. You're supposed to be a push character. You're a rush character. You're supposed to make noise. So that everybody
But
else
I
can
can't-
escape.
I can't push freaking chainsaw massacre. That nigga's gonna get stunned for a little bit. But I need to escape too. Shoot.
What is that yellow shit around
That
the
means someone's
screen? Is that
nearby.
it? Oh shit, hell no.
I'm just hiding so
That's
that.
nigga, that shit's getting closer.
I can't find the door.
Oh, I just seen that nigga run down the stairs.
Yeah.
Hell no. He's down there.
I'm about to pip lock a door right now.
Alright.
Oh, that nigga's chainsaw close by.
Fuck me.
He's on you? He's on you?
Yeah.
Break into me. I'll push him off.
They're on my dick.
Where you at? Where you at?
I'm going back downstairs to the basement. Ah!
You said you going back downstairs?
I am.
Where he at? Where he at? I'm in the house right now, so we good.
Ah.
Oh, I hear someone get executed. Run away! I'm stuck.
Fuck.
I just had to push that nigga off of me.
Where you at?
I'm in the house. In the house. I'm going upstairs. Nigga's chasing me.
Upstairs?
Yep.
Use that.
The nigga's chasing me. Stupid.
What the fuck?
Stay focused.
Did you just die?
Yeah. Cause I pushed him off. I
Yeah.
had to wait for it to reload. So that's why I tried to run away.
Nigga's dead. Can he respawn or does he have to spectate now?
He has to spectate me.
Yeah.
Once you die,
My heart is fucking pumping right
That's
now. Hold
sick. Nigga, yeah, you're the only one left. Hell no.
No, there's 2 left. Black dude's still alive.
That's
Yo, where you at? Sonny.
so there's four of y'all? There's 4 of y'all?
No,
Yeah.
3. Yeah,
3?
yeah.
Oh shit.
Unless someone leaves the game, and then it's gonna be 3 of us.
Oh. No, that makes sense. That's damn, bro. But when you die, you die. That's sick.
Don't come over here.
Why are you running? Oh, he out. Oh, Black dude out.
can't see them.
There's a door right there to escape. He out already. All he needs to do is let Chainsaw Massacre go away, and he out.
Where is he?
He's at the door of an escape. It's at the back. At the back.
Alright.
The spot you just came from. Chainsaw Massacre's there. And everyone else in there.
Think. Just look around,
I'm gonna escape a different way.
Oh no, they're back. Stay quiet. What was that thing? Was that a person?
How do you do this?
I saw someone do that on YouTube.
You can do this.
And the yellow, put the yellow right there.
What am I doing?
Please.
And
There's
what
someone
is
walking.
he talking about?
Thing, come back.
Ooh, I hear someone. Oh, yeah.
Right.
What's up, bro?
Right.
Yo, you still want to do this this thing?
Yeah,
This,
I'll do that.
Need the speed
I'll
shit?
I'll do that in a little bit, bro.
Huh?
I'll do that in a little bit.
You gotta re-download it.
Nah, I said I'll do that in a little bit. It's already downloaded.
Damn.
Well, shit. Well, let me know when you ready. Just send me a party invite.
Yep. Yo, bro, go to the front, bro. That nigga's about to escape.
What front?
That nigga's out, bro. He already escaped. I told you at the back, bro. I told you there's an escape at the back.
I have to
What do
find
you
the
mean
other
the
side.
bag?
There's an escape at the back. There's a gate is open at the back. Chainsaw Massacre, they're all there at the back. Yeah,
Over
go
there?
there. There's a barn. Yeah, that escape right there. The escape is back there, bro.
I can't get away. Think.
Run. That's a escape right there. Why you didn't go do that? Yeah, you out.
No! Fuck, man.
Damn.
They cut you off.
Crazy.
And he was there too. Almost there to escape.
Yeah. That's sick.
Huh.
They all have 1 kill. All the killers have 1 kill. That's crazy. I wish there was a way you could kill them.
There isn't?
No.
What the fuck is it? Oh, it's just to escape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can actually kill them and then you can actually get away.
I want to use Anna anyways. I haven't been able to test this bitch out. I want to test her out. I want to see what this bitch is. This bitch is kind of fake too. After surviving a close encounter, you regain 10 health points and 50% of maximum stamina.
And you was almost there too. They just cut you off. You was almost there to escape. They just cut you off.
Yeah, no.
Cause like he knew like where you was going. He was like, oh yeah, Chainsaw Massacre is gonna chase him.
Wait, the killer's live people too?
Yeah,
Huh?
Just NPCs?
those are actually people.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And they know how to play as them. I ain't gonna lie.
Except that if like,
They know how to play as them.
Crazy.
But what is? But like his things take too long to recharge. When I attack with someone, then I run away. But like his thing takes too long, and like I try to run away so like I can get it back up so I can tackle him down again. But I couldn't, and I tried to hide in the bush, but I should have kept on running.
Yeah, nigga, this nigga fucking hid in the bushes.
Well, cause like the stamina, I have to wait for the stamina to go back up, and I have to start
this
running.
bitch don't want to use Connie.
Yeah, I
Y'all
see
give
what
her
you're
Anna.
saying. That's hell no.
That's the thing. My stamina has to go
Never
back
mind.
up.
You want to use Connie? Go ahead, bitch.
Fuck no.
Go ahead, bitch. Use Connie. You a level 2. I was trying to help you out, but never mind, bitch.
Okay, that Chainsaw Massacre is like, okay, he upgraded him. Like that's what I don't like is like his stamina. I wish you could have like max stamina where you can just run away.
You can't max it out?
Nah, not really.
I wish they added that into the game, so that you don't have to
nigga.
lose stamina every single time.
Oh
Like
god.
you literally, when you're literally gonna chase you, lose stamina, you have to slow down and they easily get to slash you.
That's, yo, hell no.
Every single hit.
They should have added that.
Yeah, it should have been implemented in the game, but
Most definitely.
it's
Hell
not.
Yeah, so like you could run away more easily.
It's not supposed to be
should be a
easy.
way to
It's not
power up
supposed to be
your
easy.
stamina.
This is supposed to be about survival, nigga. You're supposed to learn the
Okay,
stamina
but
you
yeah,
have.
nigga, but there's a lot of survival games that have a room for stamina boost. Nigga, most games like that do.
Johnny's
That's
annoying,
weird.
dog. He's an annoying killer. I'm not gonna lie.
Who, Johnny?
Yeah, he's
Search
fucking
continues
annoying.
in Muerto County for a missing University of Texas student. The sheriff's department
And,
says
like,
That's the
Maria
one with the
Flores,
mask.
And,
a
like,
native of
Johnny
Uvalde,
and
was
them,
last
like, they
seen
don't
near
even
the
go
town of
downstairs.
Newt. The
Nah,
vehicle
Johnny's-
was discovered
Nah,
abandoned,
Johnny's
with officials
the-
reporting no signs of foul
He's
play.
the pretty boy killer.
Authorities
I
are
ain't even gonna
hopeful that
lie.
the expanded
He's a
threat
ruthless one. He's the one that he tracks your footsteps and
will unearth who leads. Family and friends are urging anyone with information regarding her disappearance to please come forward. Residents of the Apache Ridge.
They're like, but like, yeah, you have to be like very smart. Like, you can outrun them. And once they get to you, you dead.
Niggas is shaking.
Where am I? What is
You
this
say you
place?
shaking?
Them niggas, y'all niggas is shaking, hanging up there.
I'm not shaking. I ain't scared.
Nah, they was
should
hanging up
I never
there
did.
and wiggling around. Hell no.
This Chainsaw Massacre's on me.
Get the fuck out of there.
Wait, can you see my character? Ooh, on the white.
No.
I only see E's.
Okay, Anna.
I
Stay
see
calm.
E's
You can use
because I'm
this.
watching the stream.
Locks, maybe.
I'm dead, Eric. I'm dead. Oh, he's stupid.
What?
Oh, he's
Where
stupid.
you going, Eric?
Oh, he's
I'm
stupid.
looking to escape.
Oh, he's down.
Damn, I made noise. My fault.
Can I get through there?
Oh, he's stupid. I'm out. Oh, I got spiked. Run! Run away!
Where y'all at?
I'm dead.
I hear you're dead.
Nah, I'm
Damn.
still alive. That nigga's about to kill me though. I think he's chasing someone. I'm gonna find some heal. Woo! I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. Oh! I ran out of stamina.
See, this is what I'm talking about, bro. This is crazy. They should have a fucking stamina point.
Good. It's open.
Damn, niggas, come off the ladder.
Looks like some kind of lockpick. Thank God.
That nigga started chasing me, but I started closing doors on him. I tried to hide, but that nigga got me. I should have just went to that little crack.
Get your head straight. Come on now.
That's Johnny. That nigga's annoying as fuck.
Ugh, he looks cracked out.
Where's everybody else,
Madre de
T?
Dios.
They is
Protect us.
down in the basement.
Please.
Oh,
Hide. Hide, they're coming.
oh my God.
Thank you,
Oh my
God.
God.
I think I lost them.
You're supposed to be in a tough
You get away from me.
They are making a fool out of you.
Oh my God.
Are they gone?
Keep it.
I think I'm
Oh,
okay.
they done.
For now. Why are you doing this to
three
me?
of them walked past
Please
you.
stop.
That's crazy.
Oh, finally.
Man, y'all still downstairs. They still in the basement.
I need to find the others.
Decent party.
Thank you.
Alright, they outside now. They outside.
Ah!
Can't
What a bitch.
Oh, come on, nigga, get open the door.
Where did your stink brother run off?
Please, let's stick together.
Those are the other girls. They're in the house. Sticking together.
Come over here.
What was that?
Oh, she's dumb. Oh, this girl just broke glass. She's stupid. Can't come out shit.
Are they really gone?
Where you at? And they down in the basement, they hurt.
All of them?
Yeah, no, both of them. Yeah, all of them hurt. Yeah,
All the
she
killers
dead.
too?
Nah. Yeah, she's dead. She got sliced. They all chasing them. Those too good about the bag.
I'm out this bitch. I ain't gonna lie.
There it is.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Yes, the fuck I am, nigga. I'm out.
Oh, what did that do? Stop. These
Yep.
open the door.
I'll watch. As soon as my shit refills, I'm running all the way. Here we go. Out. I don't give a fuck if Grandpa yells. Fuck Grandpa!
In God's name. What is this place?
Fuck Grandpa! That nigga suck my dick. Fuck him. I'm getting out this motherfucker. No, I'm gonna walk because, you know, I'm a little hurt. Fuck that. Ugh.
Nah, teammates is really dead. Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah, I'm out this bitch. Fuck that. Fuck them
I ain't
niggas.
gonna lie, you gotta spectate them. Oh, you can't.
Fuck them niggas. I'm out.
I gotta
Yeah,
find
they
help.
dead.
Go. Getting help for myself. I'm the only survivor. Fuck them niggas. Nigga got Connie and didn't escape. Like,
This might come in handy.
He's the only one that's about to die. He's moving up. Oh, yeah, he
if
dead.
I had Connie, I would have been left. Been left. All the doors would have been unlocked.
Yeah, she don't know how to use it.
She don't. She don't know how to use Connie. If I was using Connie, all the doors would have been unlocked.
Got it.
What's the other ones doing? It's just Connie and this
out.
bitch. You're the only one that died.
Yeah. They stick together. Well, I died because he was chasing me down. So I was closing doors in his face. I was really surviving. I was.
Was you surviving though?
Yeah, I was trying to run away. I couldn't crash through that little hole, but I was so stupid enough to hide because I knew he was gonna saw me. Anyway. Oh look, now seeing that shit. He thought he could just get to the front. It's open.
That's not the door I opened.
Why is she going back down? Oh. Let me see her back down for a reason. I just told her to escape to the front. It gave it go.
That's what you told them?
Yeah. Oh, wow, she's dead. This is straight to the front. Why are you
You're done for, bitch.
How did you do that fast?
Just look around, Connie.
I doubt it.
You actually might survive.
Nope, she not surviving. She gotta. Nope. If she survived, I'll be surprised. I will be surprised if she survives.
Maybe she will, bro. Now, what are you doing? What are you doing? Look, he's just right there running out. That nigga's gonna stand there. Oh my god. Stand there.
Connie can't wait for his shit to recharge.
Oh my god.
Wow, he could turn it back on. If he turns it back on, that's raps, yep.
Alright, there, that's what just coming back off. Go ahead. Green out as well. Alright, that's a chance to never mind.
You thought they was gonna kill me? I'm too smart.
And now that's just alright, she good now. You can go. You're good.
I think she's waiting to unlock the door first.
Nobody's there.
Someone's coming.
They're going back to the house now. Alright, she good. She Gucci.
You can do this.
They're not. Oh, yeah. That was me. I wouldn't say that.
Gotta find something for the pain. Someone, please. Help me.
Oh my god, she's so stupid. Oh my god, she's done. Oh my god, she's done. She knew it. She knew it.
Leave me alone.
My god.
That's why Johnny's annoying.
How does he even know that she's there? Like,
That's why Johnny is annoying.
how did he even know she did?
Cause it's Johnny. I would have knew that bitch was there too.
What he saw the footsteps?
Yeah.
If that was me, I wouldn't have been out of there. I wouldn't have been saw my footsteps. I wouldn't have been down in the basement.
Damn, I wish.
Only.
Hold on, I'm trying to get more people in here. Kind of fucked up earlier. I was gonna play earlier, but I was doing something, talking. Oh, significant other. There we go. Yo, hey.
Yo,
My fault about earlier, gang. You trying to play with us?
bro, I was just watching Bullet Train. It's so good.
Nah, Bullet Train was a good movie.
Yeah, I got like another 40 minutes left. I'm watch that shit when I finish sleeping. Let's play.
Alright. Because I'm about to go to
I
work
got a little
at 8.
bit. Yeah, me too. Ace sounds good, so a little bit.
You got work?
Tomorrow, nigga, at 4.
Oh. In the morning?
Yeah, buddy.
Damn, nigga.
I gotta be ready by 4, so my shit just starts at 6.
Nigga, that's a beef. Oh.
Bro, I played 2 games. I lived one and died the other.
Who was you playing as?
Just surviving.
I know. What's survival?
I don't even know, bro. Some chick.
What? What?
What's good though? Who we playing with?
What? What, nigga? Alright. Hold on. Alright, nigga. Hold on. Hold on, I'm gonna create another party. Yo, heck. The code. Can you go to my stream and look at
I can't hear shit even. This shit loud as fuck. Man.
Go to my stream and look at the code.
Gotcha. Put 2 history.
I might go on Twitch. I might see you stream.
I wouldn't advise watching his stream. Niggas suck at everything you play.
Who's that?
That's the only good content is watching him trash. That's the only content there is to watch. Yeah, just tell me it. I can't even see it because I got hit with an app, bro. Fucking whole minute. You not? Damn. Where the fuck you at? Oh, right. You did just say that. Yeah, pick up the cat. I want to see it. Yeah. Cause you said you had this guy for a minute, right?
Hey, but what's your Twitch?
This shit. This shit's Godly, GRNDS.
Oh, you said what?
Godly, GRNDS. NDS.
Alright.
So now, heck, can you go to invites and then go to join invite?
I can invite you right now. I'm inviting you right now. Did you get that?
No,
You didn't get that? Can you invite me?
I can't really search up your name. Oh, I see it. Invite through the PC. No, I can't. Never mind. I don't see it. I see the invite, but on Xbox it's a little different. You have to type in a code. Let me see. Hold on.
I got my code. You want my code?
Let me see.
Excuse me.
You want my code?
Yeah, tell me the code.
Shit. I gotta go back. My shit's 6ZZ.
6 Z
2S9.
Alright.
Yeah, I got it.
Can you add me? Or no, I could just click see
We're
profile.
already
It just
added.
brings me to your Xbox profile. Alright, Ty, I'm gonna send you an invite.
Alright.
It shows we're already together, right?
Yeah, I'm inviting Tyron.
Lights ahead,
Alright,
right?
man.
Alright.
Alright,
Start up.
Yo, how good are you at this survivor shit? E?
I've literally left the last 2 games I played with this nigga.
Yo, I tried closing the door on the killer my first game, bro. It didn't make him
That
fall.
bro,
Do you need a
that's what
perk?
I was
You need a
exactly
perk.
doing, bro. That's what I was
Yeah.
exactly
You
doing.
need a perk.
You need a perk. Okay.
You need a perk.
That's dumb. Let's start this shit, nigga.
You're the
I
leader,
kept
nigga,
closing the
not
door
me.
and this nigga kept on opening it, bro. I tried to run away, I ain't had enough time.
So you get at
Ow!
this shit, Tyrone?
Out!
Are you good at
Close!
this game, my brother?
Close!
From in the
Close.
what up?
Out!
You not gonna respond, Tyrone? Shit, you good at the game?
Yeah, I'm good at the game. Out!
Nah, he's ass.
No, are you, nigga?
Nigga's ass.
Are you
Dog
good at the
food.
game, nigga? Ain't talking about Eric. I already know Eric's ass. I ain't gonna worry about
Your
Eric.
car. Your car.
Nigga, I was just
Your
joking
car.
anyway,
Nah, I know Eric just generally ass at every game he play.
Hey, give up time, bro. You're wild. You don't even
Nah,
have it
bro,
maxed
this is
out.
the only character I got
Nigga,
leveled, bro.
nigga, then switch it up. Level up another
Alright,
character.
I'll switch. Go ahead.
Level up
Just 'cause you
Anna.
wanna, right? Who's Anna? I'm doing it.
I ain't gonna lie.
You can reset your points on Connie.
I ain't gonna lie. Somebody could take that freaking guy with the easy quick. Nobody can take it.
You heard me, Hack?
Nah, I don't wanna. You can have it, bro. It's cool.
Reset your skill points so that you can put some on Connie. I mean Anna.
I haven't even put points. I mean, I did put a little bit, but I
Yeah,
got 22 left.
nigga,
still.
those are the only points you're gonna get, nigga. You better reset the shit. Go back to
Oh,
Connie and
so
reset
you only
it.
have one character?
Yeah, nigga, all your points go to every character, bro.
That's nutty.
Trust me, I had to reset
I
my.
ain't gonna lie, Eric. Nah, switch. Nah, bro. You gotta get that black guy up, dog.
I'm not playing
Nah,
as him.
nah.
Hold on, I'm waiting for Heck to reset his points.
I'll be whoever. Just y'all go ahead.
Like, what
I'll
is this
pick
nigga Tyron talking about? Like,
I ain't gonna lie. You can take him. You can take him for now. You can take him for now.
you want to
That
play
is
as the
good.
black guy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Heck, that nigga, he tackles the enemy. He's the tank of our
Yeah,
whole
which way you
shit.
go, Tyrone? Left or right?
What?
So this guy right here. E, which way you go?
I didn't really upgrade him. I only upgraded Anna and
Yeah. I need
And
to upgrade
Connie.
this guy too. I need to upgrade this guy.
but
I need to upgrade him.
any defensive skills would probably work for this nigga. Any strength, tackling niggas, trucking them, making sure the killer's off your back.
Yeah, I feel you.
Damn, it's about to start.
The search continues in Huerto County for a missing University of Texas student. The Sheriff's Department says Maria Flores, a native of Uvalde, was last seen near the town of Newt. Her vehicle was recently discovered abandoned, with officials reporting no signs of foul play. Authorities are hopeful that the expanded search in nearby communities of Harlow and Chinatown will unearth the leads. Family and friends are urging anyone with information.
There is
regarding
certain
the
maps that I don't know how to
disappearance
escape
forward.
from.
Cattle
I know how to escape from the house very well. But any other place?
Alright, let's get it. Who's by me?
That's me, but I'm out. I ain't gonna lie.
What?
Have fun with the killing, I guess.
Nah, why you leave? Yo.
What are we looking for down here?
Toolboxes, tool shits. Make sure that toolbox is the first thing you find, just so that you can open the door.
I ain't gonna lie, you left me with the killer.
God.
Holy cow.
Is this human?
I did? He's chasing me?
I'm dead. Yes, he is.
Somebody already opened the door? What happened?
I'm not gonna go.
I'm dead.
Are you actually? Come to me. I'll let him hit me. Where he at?
I lost him. Never mind, no I didn't.
No, he's following you. I see him. He's still going for you. I'm right next to him, bro. You don't
I
see me.
have to find the others.
I'm opening the
You
north.
good? You lost him. You good?
Yo,
Yeah, I don't know what he doing.
I still hear his chainsaw.
Yeah, he's right here. I see him.
Where you at? Where you at?
What's that?
I opened up the
Just talk with him.
north storage room. I'm gonna open up another
He's
door.
over there. Just talk with him, bro. Run from him.
He's coming. Oh, shoot.
Fit in the door.
Alright, I'm about to open this door over here, yo. Come here. Yo, it's already open.
Yeah, I opened that one.
Where you at? Where you
Oh,
at?
you upstairs? You upstairs?
I don't know
Nah.
where you at. I don't know where you freaking went. I don't know where you went, bro.
There's a nigga right there. No, there's a nigga right there. There's a nigga right there to your left.
I know.
I found the door.
So where's your
Right
way?
behind you, bro. Right
That's
behind
you, right here,
behind
right?
you, behind you.
Hold on,
He's
hold
right
on,
here
hold
too.
on, hold on, no.
That's not you?
Nah, there's someone right here, right in front of me. Oh, nah, this is me. Look near me, this is me.
They could be anywhere.
I'm about to open this door right here, hold on. Everyone just stay right here. Y'all all have a lockpick, right?
Yeah, I got
Nah,
two.
I don't got one.
Alright.
This
Oh! We out!
Ooh, Grandpa, shut up.
Where's the way, Danny?
Just straight ahead.
Looks
Over here.
safe. It'll help.
So what
Unlock this-
character has that perky that makes him fun?
Unlock this door.
You heard me?
What'd you say?
What character has that perk?
For what? Unlock doors fast?
Yeah.
That's Connie.
That's you?
Yeah,
no,
that's
no,
why.
no, unlock doors fast to stun him with
Who
the...
the hell are these people?
The door, everybody has it. You just have to be lucky enough to get the perk. That's all it is. Come on, Heck, we need you right now.
Locked.
Oh, they can
Damn
come
it.
any minute, though.
Yes.
Alright,
Thank you.
now,
I won't budge.
close the door, close the door, close the door.
Oh no. They're back. Connie. Over here.
I think they're coming.
Hey, quiet.
Oh,
They're
shit.
coming, they're coming, they're coming.
Get down, get down, get down, get down.
We off
Oh,
on
I
the
forgot,
ground.
I
This is
forgot
not
that
it.
nigga can track you with the freaking foot.
Where's the way to go, you know, in case we get
It's
split?
over there, straight ahead. But the doors, we have to unlock the door and we need to turn off the generator.
Go now, bro. Just go now, go now, go now.
Alright, unlock the door. Unlock the door. Whoever's unlocking it. Who just
I got it.
unarmed the birds? What the fuck? Alright.
Damn, we can't.
I guess I'm gonna turn off the electric fence.
Bro, I got a lockpick. Why isn't it working?
Did you collect bones? Phones are not
Oh
locked.
no, I got it. I got it.
Please.
Alright, I took the fence down.
Yo, lecture's still on.
I think this is
No,
where
it's
I have
not.
one, but it's not letting me do it.
This should
E.
help.
Oh, here we go. You gotta like find the jiggle piece. Oh, my shit broke though.
Fuck.
Damn.
I had
Alright,
it.
everyone stay over here, just hide.
They're here. I need to hide.
I had like the 2 fucking pieces.
I hear that nigga
Hide,
saying
hide. Niggas coming.
I can't see them.
Someone got hit.
something. I just saw you run, bro. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie,
that his face is right here. He doesn't know we're in here.
I know he doesn't.
There goes up. Yeah. Oh, so they're chasing you, E.
No, they're not.
They saw one of them.
That's another chick.
Oh yeah, they saw her.
I'm trying to find the toolbox that's usually with it.
Oh, I hear them.
I can do this.
They don't know we're over here, bro. They're just running inside.
Oh, she dead. Oh, she dead.
She's dead as fuck. I ain't even gonna lie. Oh, I found the toolbox. Okay. Are they coming down here?
Come. I'm waiting with them, man.
Yo, someone take the fence off again. Someone go back to the electric fence. It's behind this red truck. It's in front of this red truck over here. T, yeah, right in front of you. Right in front of you. Right in front of you. Yeah, go in front of that red truck. Right there.
It's much too quiet.
I'm about to unlock. I'm about to.
Oh shit. They're feeding that guy.
It's all good. Go ahead. Just hold it. The door's unlocked. All we need.
I'm on it. It's 40%. 50. 68. This is it? That's it. We
Yeah,
out.
that's it. And then we're out.
Keep your head clear. Eyes open.
All right, come on.
You can do this.
I open this shit quick, nigga. I ain't even gonna lie.
Oh, let's wait for them to come.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to come.
Let's go open the door at least. Just to learn them.
Nah, heck, come back, because the electric fence is gonna come back on, and they can't walk through it either. So when Grandpa yells, just fucking stand behind that metal.
This is it. What's the next one?
Gotta keep going.
That's toxic, bro. We ain't toxic.
Heck, it's
Just go
stupid.
away.
That's some toxic fucking, bro. Let's just shit. Well, we should have waited a little more. That's
I told you. They would have figured it out eventually that we all left it at that door was open. Like, how did none of them see that door was open?
Nah, we had them closed. We closed them.
I mean, I get that. We did close them. Come on. Nigga, if I was playing as a killer, nigga, I would have seen that shit. No way niggas getting away from me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And I'm a good killer. I ain't gonna lie. I love killing niggas. So, don't get it twisted.
You want to be able to upgrade my character? I can't do it here.
Nah, just next match and when it starts. Or we could just back up. Matter of fact.
I would have just ran. I would have.
Oh, I left the party. I'm not the leader. You are, heck. Back out and send me another invite.
Can't even invite you. E.
What's your code again?
But damn, you gotta do that every time.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
I
was
can't
talking
even
about
see my code.
Unless Tyron
It's like
invites you.
loading.
T.
I can't.
Oh.
Let me see.
What's your code? You probably gotta leave the team again, heck. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I do. My shit's not loading.
Yeah, leave the team.
Give me your code to join the party. I can join it today.
Give you a code?
You're cool to the party.
QV X B ZT.
ZT?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Why do we have to do that every single time? That's stupid.
I like it. Different. Nope.
You joining T?
Yeah.
Yeah, Xbox is slow.
Who?
You.
How?
Cause why it take you so long to join?
Nigga, I got the invite. What you talking about? Anything that long?
I sent that a while ago. Connie, my bitch. I probably have some new cosmetics. So yeah, I do. I knew I did. I escaped on her mad times. Escaped with Connie 20 times. I escaped a lot on this game. I ain't gonna lie. So I must have escaped 15 times already. Damn.
I really need to upgrade this guy. And go, what?
You could take your upgrades off of the other character and put them on this one. Wait, heck, you're not here.
Oh, don't ready up.
Hold on. I backed out. Something happened. Join that T. Heck.
I was not here, my bad.
Yeah, no, you wasn't. The new code
Sugar. Oh my god. What is it?
XZ Rump.
What?
9Z Rump.
XZ
No, 9Z Rump.
Excellent.
RUMP.
from the beginning, bro.
9Z RUMP.
Let's run it. What are you giggling over here for? So
We're just
funny.
talking about.
He's laughing like that.
Wait. Oh, did you say Trump? Is that nigga in jail?
I think so.
Like
nah,
in
he's-
jail.
He was for like a
He
second.
got
They
a-
paid
he
his
paid
bills,
his bill.
200,000.
But was he there for like a day or so?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
no.
Yeah, Tyron,
I mean,
you could take your
if-
upgrades off of Leland and put them on the Sunny.
If he was, shit, my bad. If he was in it though, he was like safe as fuck.
Hey, bro, hold up, bro. Let me see my character real quick. I'll be right back to you.
You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds, bro.
No, he needs to switch to Leland to reset.
Oh, gotcha.
Just
So
switch
you
to
motherfucker
Anna.
steal my character again, motherfucker?
No, he's gonna reset it so that he can put his skill points on Sunny.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. When you go to characters or loadout, press Y.
I said I just pressed. Nothing happened.
Press Y. Go to loadout and then press Y. Or no, go to skill tree and press Y. Skill tree and press
there we
Y.
go. But I want to upgrade it. I gotta upgrade him again.
Huh?
But then I have to upgrade that nigga again.
Yeah, you are. That's what I've been doing, nigga. I took all my points off of Sissy.
Homie, just pick a character for I could pick that other character to level up. I don't care who you pick. You
Oh,
heard
heck,
me
you can
right
go
here,
back.
bro.
You
I'm
can go
trying to
back.
level up my character, bro. Oh, you good? I'm gonna get some mistake with this nigga. If we gonna play together like this. I love up this homie.
Yeah, that
I wanted
nigga
to
Sunny.
choose a girl.
I
but
wanna-
fuck it.
Anna's the
I
next.
attack with it.
Anna's the next big big one, bro. I'm not gonna lie, cause she has an ability where she doesn't take damage.
Bro, I
Nigga,
tackle
your ass
niggas.
is Ice
Fuck that.
Spice over there.
Yeah. I'm using Connie only for the simple fact I know all the exits. I could just quick boom 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 escape right out. Simple.
I use her at the beginning, and she like makes you skip like a lock, right?
Yeah.
What is the stealth? Your stealth's increased by 3.
Yeah.
How is that happening?
How quiet you are, crouching and shit.
Yo, we need to fucking put
Okay.
stamina on there.
You got this game? We need one
She
more.
do, but she can't play because she's on Xbox. Regular Xbox is stupid.
The search continues in Huerto County for a missing University of Texas
Wait.
student.
Upgrade this shit. What are you doing?
Maria
You're lame.
Flores, a native of Uvalde, was last
Bro, I
seen near
wanna
the
play
town
so
of
bad.
Newt. Her vehicle
just
was
want
to
recently
play.
discovered
Spend like
abandoned, with
$2.
officials reporting no
I'll
signs
give
of
you
foul
100.
play.
Hell no.
Authorities are hopeful that the expanded
I'll
search
go half.
into the
You know,
nearby
figure it out.
Harlow and
You know, I can play
Chinatown
beyond.
will unearth leads.
Now,
Family
she
and
gonna
friends
agree.
You
are
got me.
urging anyone with information regarding her disappearance to please come forward.
Alright. This is the
6
same
reported
mapping?
cases of suspected
No. I don't know
There's
who
multiple
I'm.
maps?
Yeah, there's multiple. I don't know who I'm.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's you, Hank. Why are you so loud?
See?
What's going
So
on?
loud.
What is this place? I can't believe that.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Where y'all at?
You're gonna have to find us too. I ain't gonna lie. Oh
You,
yeah.
you went through the hoey?
Yeah.
What are these stone shits for you?
You can stun the killer with those.
I already got a stun, so I can double stun a nigga?
Yeah, double stun basically. Damn, Heck, you're too loud, bruh.
Fuck it, bro! Play the game to play the game. Oh shit, run!
Jesus.
Why ain't that nigga think all that? Everybody hit me. Everybody hit me. No.
Bro, I stunned him, but he hit me so hard, bro. Jesus.
I know that. That he hits hard, bruh.
1 HP, literally.
That's why I told you to be quiet, nigga. Chainsaw Massacre been ODing it. That nigga's fake right now.
I just fucked up,
This
bro.
you?
I'm in a room. I should not have been in.
Yo, this you?
Yeah, that's me. Go save Heck.
Nigga.
I do this though?
I'm dead!
I can't do nothing to save him.
Fuck me.
Nigga,
like
Heck,
this?
bro.
Why'd you make so much noise?
And then you woke up Grandpa in the beginning. Heck, come on, bruh.
Bro, you're supposed to save me, bro. Come on,
I was trying to save you, but nigga, I can't do much of shit when I got nothing but lockpicks, bruh.
Nigga,
Huh?
turn your stream down. This shit's echoing.
Oh shit, nah, I know why it's... I know why.
Oh, she's dead. Oh, she's dead.
Who's that?
The girl.
Just keep moving, Connie.
And I hear Chainsaw Massacre. Niggas pissed.
This will help.
Too bad she's showing her panties. So she got the jump.
Really. Who
And
said
the
that?
man's in the Erica Ice Spice.
Oh, she's dead. Oh, nah.
Stay focused.
It's just me and you, Eric.
Huh?
So it's just me and you. It's down to me and you. That nigga died. You dead. I know where to go.
Freaking lock.
Stay quiet.
Journey back up. That won't let me eat the sandwich. Move out the way. What the fuck you doing, Ice Spice?
I'm trying to escape.
I need to find some
Oh, she
help.
getting sturdy, that's
That's
what
what I'm
she's
trying to
doing.
do. I found an escape. I found the door. I need to
She's
put-
getting sturdy.
I'm escaping through the parking lot right now.
There's a parking lot there.
On the right.
It's open.
Parking lot open. I'ma stay over here just in case.
You might not want to do that. The nigga's about to get ate.
Where the hell is the parking lot, bro?
I'll start moving when Grandpa scream. I'll start moving. You better hurry up when I start moving. You better look
Don't
around
look
for
them
the
niggas.
I'm gonna move for a second, and then I'm gonna stop. And then I'm gonna move for a second, and then I'm gonna stop. So,
Alright.
be ready.
Yeah,
Be
bro.
ready.
I see it. You got the door right there, that red door.
Yeah, to the right. Red door to the right.
Wait, that's near Leatherface.
That's near the Grandpa, yeah. Right behind Grandpa. I'm starting to, I'm moving. I stop.
Nigga.
I move.
I'm
I
doing
stop.
shit but going in circles.
I move.
Fuck
I stop.
idiot.
Where you at, T?
Hold on. Let me stop. Let me
You
stop.
look
Let me finish.
ugly as hell.
Where you at, T? Where you at?
Nigga stud.
I'm coming.
She
Hold
better
up,
she
let me
on her
finish it. Hold
penny.
on. Let me-
Shake her like jelly. Like Benzo Chanelli.
Damn, heck. You was supposed to escape with us, my nigga.
Shit.
Oh, they're coming. That's Sissy. Sissy coming.
Hold on. I'm coming, bro.
Sissy's over there. I'm sorry, T. It's
I
rats.
think I lost him.
She's from the Bronx. I know she dirty.
I'm out. I can't stay no longer, T.
My cat's making
You're on the wrong
biscuits.
side.
Oh, damn.
The other side,
Is it
yeah,
this way?
over there. To the right, over there.
Other way,
Yeah,
nigga.
to the right.
Nigga, that shit's still echoing.
Right here.
What do you mean echoing? I can't fix that right now.
Man, it wasn't doing it before.
Right here, bro.
Yeah, that exit, yeah. What do you mean, Mo? I don't.
It
What,
just
what do you mean
keeps,
it's echoing?
Like, we be talking and then...
It's because you have to either mute the party, cause you're in both, Mo. That's you. You're in both.
Alright, like...
Yeah, babe. You're in both. You gotta choose one.
Okay, wait, let me see. Say something.
To the behind you.
Okay, let me fix
Yeah,
this.
through that exit right there. Yeah. They're over there though, so
She about to shit on the border.
yeah, over there. Press RB. You'll be able to see where the killers are at.
Stop making biscuits. Ah.
Oh my god.
Go now.
Yo,
Go now.
Yo, go.
Yep, that door right in front of you. Yep. and you slammed it. You know that you're gonna have to turn on the fucking generator, right? Turn it off. Yeah, that generator, that red generator, you're gonna have to turn that off.
Keep it together, man.
Niggas in the bushes.
You better go turn it off and then go in the exit, nigga. And then you're loud, you got the chickens. You died, you dead, nigga. This is dead.
Chickens is crazy.
Look, they're coming, you're dead.
Nah.
You better pray you get that off in time. You better pray. You better pray.
You can do it, you can do it, you can do it.
Oh, you turned it off. Go to the gate. Go to the gate.
Go. I'm out.
I guided you through that whole fucking thing, by the way.
This nigga definitely.
You would have died crazy.
Yeah, he's wildin'.
The chance that guy came at the end right there, that's nutty.
That's what I'm saying. I was praying that he came a little earlier. I'm like,
He came just in
iPhone
time.
14 Plus. Nigga, hold on.
What?
But dude, I got 300 points. At least I got more than this guy. Oh. I'm
Chainsaw
eating no
Massacre-
E, so
Chainsaw Massacre got like 2 kills.
are we clicking next or are we quitting? Beat him real quick.
You nigga.
I was gonna kick you off. Yeah. I don't care if you're my mom's sister. I don't care. Just my mom's sister. Y'all got kicked out. Nah, I'm playing.
I've been with
Not
it.
just like your aunt like that.
Cause I knew what the spot was. I just walked past it. That's why.
How you walk past that?
Cause it was behind me. I knew where the spot was. I just walked past it. I can't upgrade no more. It won't let me upgrade.
Hey, yo.
Nah, Penny just-
Ice Spice.
She really
Ice
do
Spice
look like
don't
Ice
know.
Spice, man.
That shit, she looks like Ice Spice, right? Connie.
She don't look like you.
No, she looks like Ice Spice.
You ugly.
She better just showing up panty.
You coulda really-
Nobody said Ice Spice was who? What the fuck? I said she looked like Ice. Yo, no cap.
Yo, you're wild. You're wild.
Yeah. No
You're
cap.
wild.
He's bugging. Keep that energy, nigga. That's alright. That's alright. Cause nobody was talking about that, nigga.
Why would I upgrade? No. Now I just messed everything up.
Nigga, heck, bro. You need to not be loud, bro. Especially when you with me, hey. You can't be loud, nigga. I will literally do everything. I literally carry 2 lockpicks. All I need, if y'all are running with me,
Niggas going in.
get some bones so that y'all can stun the killers and shit. Get some bone scraps and some health.
They need some stamina. Fuck that shit.
Nah, it's all good. The stamina and shit is good. They did it right on this game. I ain't gonna lie.
Shut the hell up.
You just have to learn to use your stamina, nigga. You gonna have maximum stamina when you hurt. Leatherface done
Yeah,
done
nigga.
chopped your body
In
up.
most survival games, they be having stamina boosts.
Come on, niggas would be hurt. My stomach. This nigga just stick the whole knife in there. Like, you mean to tell me you gonna be running at max speed down the street?
Oh yeah, nigga, like a crackhead.
Niggas is finna die, nigga.
Arre.
I'm definitely editing this
She
stream.
better show
When I get to work,
me.
I'm gonna save this stream and edit it. This stream's going on
Shake it
YouTube.
like jelly.
This stream's going on
You said
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Nah,
this
I
stream's
gotta
going
see
on.
that on YouTube. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta see that on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm gonna edit this one. This is gonna be the one I edit at work when I get there.
I wish I could upgrade more. But they won't let me.
Nigga.
The search
not one
continues
of
in
those
Huerto
games.
County
But
for a
yeah,
missing University of Texas
Cause
student. The sheriff's department says Maria Flores, a native of Uvalde, was last seen near the town of Newt. Her vehicle was recently discovered abandoned, with officials reporting no signs of foul play. Authorities are hopeful that the expanded search in nearby
Get your mans, get your
will
mans.
unearth new leads. Family and friends are urging anyone with information regarding her disappearance to please come forward. New details have emerged in the
Hopefully I don't die in the first 5 minutes here.
Alright, yo, you gotta be quiet, hey. I mean, in the beginning, it's okay to be loud. In the beginning.
The fucking ceiling and shit. I mean, that's not loud right there.
Right by me. I ain't gonna lie, he's right by me. I spawned him right by me.
Just keep
Good.
moving,
Not by me.
That nigga always gets spawned alone. Hell nah.
I ain't gonna lie, I spawned him right by him.
Wait, is Leatherface the only guy that spawns at the bottom?
Yeah, in the bottom.
Lead to the others.
Nigga, what the fuck? That
But heck, when you alert this nigga, everybody can come downstairs. This is why we tell you not to alert this nigga so early.
I didn't alert him.
I don't know who alerted this nigga.
it was you,
Not me.
nigga.
I see you, bro. I'm right by you. I'm here, bro. I'm right here.
Damn. Oh, the chainsaw guy coming now.
Nigga.
This will help.
Oh!
Who the hell is Oh,
Is he coming after you or is he coming after me?
He's coming after me.
both of y'all.
No, he's definitely not after you.
Come on,
Both
come
of
on.
them.
I gotta find something.
Who
I
the
can
hell's
use.
behind? Oh,
Some bitch, I don't know,
That
random.
nigga hit me with
that
one
bitch
hit,
is
I was
eating
dead.
ass, nigga, behind you. She's like an orphan. What the fuck?
I got the door perky. Let me see if it works.
Get off Ice Voice.
Okay.
Is that a tattoo on it? Oh no, that's just. That's a stab. Yo, did you just sound an alarm?
Yo!
You.
Someone sent already.
Run! She gotta get on her panty. Hell no. Bruh, she been holding that spleen for how long? About to die.
I need help. I just lost this nigga.
Go, nigga, go! Go, nigga, go! Nigga, picking locks right now. Crazy.
Oh!
Nigga's about to pick your ass. That's what I said. You need to go. He's talking about, let me pick this lock. Like, no. Fuck out of there. Leave. Yo. Go! Why is she so cute?
Yeah!
Leatherface is looking. No, Leatherface. No, get your boy.
No!
You gonna eat
I
that
lost
ass?
him.
Eat the.
I need something for this wound.
Keep going.
It's getting worse.
Ain't a lie, I lost him.
Damn.
I need help, bro.
Look at that one.
Oh my god, they're on my
Harry, if you go
dick.
back to that room, I got a healing pot for you.
Where you at? You died?
No.
Go back to that room where you vented.
Huh?
Like,
Go back to that room where you vented. There's a mic of it.
Hold on, heck.
Please don't
how
let
can
that
I lose when I'm
thing
already
come back.
chose? Go, Ice, go.
Damn.
How can she lose when she's
She
already
dead.
chose?
I'm not even gonna lie, these some good ass killers, bruh.
But I haven't been playing. I've just been eating and hiding. But fuck that.
Nigga, that's.
They just been chasing you. Not me.
I got a pill. Oh, I'm back in the store.
That's not
Bro,
it.
I need more heals, bro. I'm about to
What's
die. I just used a heal. I lost that nigga. He's gone.
Go, bitch, go.
Where's the door? Did any of us leave the basement yet?
This nigga's upstairs.
I'm about to leave the basement.
Oh, nah.
Oh my god, I'm dead, bruh.
You're dead.
I'm dead.
No, he's dead. He's got the chainsaw and everything.
I respect it. Tell me where to go.
Alright.
Ice Spice, no. Damn, he smashed her head in that motherfucking chainsaw.
Alright.
The
Okay,
nigga,
damn, they
that's
got a lock on that T? So heck. Yeah, unlock that. Damn, the cook found you. He's coming. The cook is coming if he found you, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
You scared me.
Hey,
Shut
hey,
up.
Nah, he's really coming. That nigga pulled up on me on some ghost shit, bro.
He was outside, nigga, got caught up.
Whoa!
T might be dead.
Go,
It
nigga.
broke, bro.
Who's the block?
Nah, you gotta be slow, heck. You gotta be slow with it. You can't be too
Oh,
quick.
that's heck.
And then T, you're running away from this nigga. T's about to die.
Where do I go, E? Where do I go, E?
Upstairs. Go upstairs. Upstairs again. Upstairs again.
Hold up, I gotta avoid this shit. Oh, I moved at the last second.
It's all good.
Upstairs.
Where?
And now there should be that latch on the right. On the right, you're right.
Out.
Right, yeah. You're wildin', heck. He wasn't near you, bro. He's downstairs,
What
bro.
the hell?
Get some more
Okay,
tools,
just tell
bro.
me where.
Get some more tools, bro.
Nigga sick.
I'm outside. I'm good.
You're wildin' right now, heck.
Nigga's going to the
Yeah,
lunch
bro.
box.
I'm not here. Where
Now
do I
go back downstairs.
Nah, chill.
Hey, yo, heck. Hey, yo, heck. Come outside.
Chill. Go outside.
You have an exit? No way.
Chill. He is outside.
He is
Do you
outside.
have an? Do you have
Go
an
down those
exit?
stairs.
Tyra?
Down those stairs.
No, bro. I'm about to go to an exit. Come on.
You need to get
Alright,
the
I'm
fuck
going.
down
Bring
the
me to
stairs.
him. Bring me to him.
Right, that door right there, heck. That door right there. To your left. Your left. Your
Right
left.
here, right here. Oh, don't move, don't move.
The cook found you, bro. You're good. He found y'all. He knows where y'all at.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Oh, we're not good. I'm good.
I have to book it. I have to book it.
I'm good, bro.
Yo, go in, heck. Go in.
Go
Go.
where?
In the
Where?
building. In the building, you idiot.
Okay.
And then
Where?
Wait.
to the straight. To the right. That door right there. They locked it. You have to unlock it. I ain't gonna lie. I never seen that, but they locked that door.
Is he shooting not locked?
Nah, they locked it themselves. Heck, when it goes all the way at the top, it's gonna break. You're dead, bro.
Yeah. Get your ass laid. You cannot fight.
Push it, bro. You can push.
Behind you, head.
He's panicking, nigga. It's over. Stop panicking.
I got the door perk, bro. I can stand it, but y'all be standing in my ear, bro. Let me see. No way he didn't see me. No way. Come on. Where do y'all want me to run to? I don't know.
Heck, bro, I couldn't explain it to you no more, bro. Hey.
My only option there is to get that door perk to fucking stun him and I can run.
Yeah, that's your only way right now. Like, trust me, it took me a minute to learn all the exits too. I'm not gonna lie.
That door perk sucked though. E, that shit don't proc for shit.
Nah, I don't.
Go to an exit. That's why I said come on.
You should have just started on that shit, bro. You shouldn't have waited for me. That's on you.
Well, I know they was gonna find me first, then find you.
Yo.
I had to, 'cause
I'm not gonna lie. I'm the only hope. I'm the only hope for you niggas to escape right now. No funny shit. I'm the only hope. Press A.
Now though, for now
next
though,
match.
now.
You need to watch streams, heck. Watch streams, bro.
I was about to escape.
Nah, I will.
Oh, God.
I'm about to take off this door perk though, bro. You shouldn't even be taking that shit a bit.
Are you reading what they do? Do you have the door perk?
Yes, I have it.
Oh.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. They all three of them gang up.
Yeah, they were
They
all
ate
on your
that nigga's
ass.
ass.
They were all on your ass. I ain't even gonna lie. Damn, this nigga got Connie.
The Chainsaw Massacre, he was coming. But
Nigga has Ice Spice.
Yeah,
Yo,
he
what's
took
that
us.
Ice Spice? Ice Spice. Who's Ice Spice?
Connie,
Connie's Ice Spice.
Who's Connie?
the bitch
The-
I'm always
I
The
guess,
one
using.
with the orange hair.
A little bit.
She better more, bro.
Damn, you think he'll switch with me?
You wanna be Ice Spice?
I really do. Oh heck, you're not in here.
Showing her panties.
I'm here.
She's taking like jelly.
Oh, I'm
No,
not
you're
here. I'm
not.
here with
Put
some
your ass in
randos.
the deli.
Yeah, you're not here. I'm gonna back out.
I'm backing out too. Yes.
Um,
Dun, dun, dun.
heck,
Dun, dun, dun.
the code
Yo,
is
bro, he need to stop
328
making noise because he's bringing the killers to me.
WTP.
That's what he's doing. Like, he's bringing freaking Chainsaw Massacre to me.
Say it again, E? My bad, Tom.
328 WTP.
328.
It's a lot.
328
WTP.
WTP. Tyrone, bro, just be better, bro. What can I
No,
say?
nigga, you keep making noise. You're waking up Grandpa.
Nah, to
Tyrone,
be honest,
Tyrone,
Leland.
just be
Tyrone
better,
is
everybody.
To be honest, Tyron. To be honest, Leland is one of those characters you are supposed to be nice, to be loud with.
But he's bringing the killer to me. That's what he's doing.
Listen, nigga.
And I had to
figure
leave
that out.
Chainsaw Massacre because I almost freaking died.
Every man from South Bend.
Join up, T. I got an hour left.
Shit, buddy.
Hold on, my sister's screaming
Nah,
about
I
some shit. Hold on.
Dawson screaming about some shit.
You at his house?
Nah, he just said that shit though.
Ooh. Shit about you showing up panties. Shit like jelly. Other bands you know. Pussy in your ass is a jelly. What's happened?
There's a car.
There's a bug?
Yeah.
What happened? There's a bug? Oh.
We probably eating it all the time.
Good though.
Wait, heck, you use a Connie?
Hells no. You can't be
I ain't
Ice
gonna
Spice.
lie. I ain't gonna lie.
I ain't gonna lie, heck.
I'm Ice
I already
Spice.
received the character swap. Yo, hey, let me use Connie. What the hell?
Oh no. Oh wow. He just gave it up to
You
somebody.
gave it up to that bitch, heck?
Damn.
Tyrone,
I
what
gave
are
it up
you,
to you, E. I'm
That's
sorry.
sick.
Yo, that
No
nigga
Ice
gave it up to
Spice
somebody
what are you
else.
doing, man? Huh?
That nigga gave it up to somebody else. Oh my god. I ain't gonna lie, Eric, you ain't getting that back.
Huh? I'm not getting it. I don't care. I'm level 8 with Anna anyways. It's all good.
How do I upgrade more? Because you only upgrade
Level up. Every time you level up, you get 5.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to level up my skills.
So escape.
I'm trying to
Stop
level
dying.
myself up.
Survive,
Well, you
nigga.
escape and stop dying, cause you got the last
Hey,
kill.
I escaped the last how many matches by myself? You know, I'm doing this shit. It's gonna be a little bit harder since I'm
look,
Anna
Ice-
now. I ain't gonna lie, we ain't gonna
You're
be
not Ice
escaping.
Spice anymore.
Facts.
Somebody gave
Facts.
it up.
So I'm gonna be
I
dying.
thought I was giving it to you, E. I gave it to the rando. Actually,
That's all good. Any Connie is good, to be honest. She still gets the one tap unlock. All you gotta do is, doesn't matter. Connie's good either way.
But like, I ain't
You're
gonna
not
lie,
even
this-
Connie.
bro, these
like,
guys
I
in
ain't gonna
game
lie,
chat are killing
it's
me.
like,
What do you
this
mean?
game is trash.
They're like speaking, I don't know what
No,
language.
they're not.
Hello? It's good, nigga. Yo, why don't you switch Connie with me, bro? I'm level 10 with the bitch, bro.
University of Texas student.
I'm level
The
10 with
Sheriff's
Connie,
Department
bro.
says
Why don't you
Maria
switch with me?
Flores, a native of Uvalde, was last seen near the town of Newt. Her vehicle was recently discovered abandoned, with officials
Nigga,
reporting
we
no
can hear
signs
your
of
voice.
foul play. Authorities are hopeful.
Because I was engaged at.
Expanded search into the nearby
You heard them, though, E?
Yeah. I was asking that bitch ass nigga why he ain't switching me.
Friends are
Yeah, well,
urging
fucking
anyone with information regarding
console
her
mics and
disappearance
shit.
to please come forward. Another disturbance was reported at the abandoned slaughter.
No,
Damn.
His mic was.
Oh, you're hanging with Ice Spice. That's crazy.
So good.
What is going on? Oh God.
I hear someone next to me.
Why is it so hard to control this fucking camera?
See, look at y'all already making noise.
You can make that.
I
type
just
of
ran.
noise, it
I
don't
just
matter.
ran by some birds. Fuck it. Right next to Leatherface. I wanna die first.
I want to die first. It's crazy.
Nah, cause he just did some crazy shit.
Where y'all at? Ooh, almost moving.
Who's picking the one?
Fuck.
Me.
Nigga, what are you looking for, Snacks?
Some tools so I can escape.
Oh. We gotta eat too, then shit. Might as well.
For real.
He's been in that law. Wait, what's that?
Chill.
I just stunned the shit out of him. He was trying to break a pallet.
You stunned him?
Yeah, he was trying to break a pallet, bro. What a bitch.
I'm following you. I'm following this girl.
I see you, Heck, but come on, you gotta get away from me, bro. I'm trying to unlock this door. I'm not Cardi right now.
The silver one?
Yeah, I'm trying to unlock that door right there, you see.
God's name. What is
There's a
this
toolbox right
place?
here.
I know, I have 2 tools. Fuck! Someone open a door.
Damn.
Nah, she just blew our cover.
Oh, one of the killers left. Leatherface left. Leatherface left. Leatherface got kicked out.
He did?
Yep.
That makes it even more better. That makes it even more better.
Does it spawn in a computer or is it just
Nah, he's not spawning back in. He got lagged out.
That makes it even
There's
more
only
better.
2 killers.
That makes it even more better. I'm out. Shoot, I can run. I can make noise all I want.
I don't
Wait,
know
the
about
killers
that.
are NPCs? Or they
Nah,
were-
the actual people.
Now there's only 2 killers. That makes it even more better.
Hold on.
Who's on?
I don't know that shit.
I'm about to escape right now. To the in the door.
Hey, Anna, over here.
Oh yeah, I see that door's open.
Oh, chill.
Hold on, they're up here.
Who? Oh, yep.
We have, that's
I
fucking
should see
Connie.
what that is.
It's Ice Spice.
They up here, but I can't even go up there. Where they at? I'm using stealth mode.
What are we looking for up here?
I'm getting another tool so I can open the door.
Bro,
Hurry up, nigga, damn.
Stay, there's gotta be something I can use around here.
I don't know where they at.
bro, open the door.
Who's dying? Your head, come out that. Oh, that's
Bro, this store perk sucks.
You
Ah!
can do this.
It does, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You ain't closed the door till you close the fucking door, nigga, so that they don't see that someone went out here. What the fuck?
Damn.
I don't get this perk, bro. I don't
What the
get
fuck
it.
is wrong with you? Why would you just bro?
Come
on,
You died again, Heck.
Come on.
I don't want to hear it.
I hear him, bro.
Thank God. It's open. I think I can make it.
Run!
Close the gate, bro. Yo, T, you're pissing me off, bro. You don't know how to escape. You don't know how to fucking escape, bro. No funny shit. Like, you're gonna get us caught the fuck up.
My fault. I don't care if Grandpa heard me.
Like,
Yeah, that's my
damn.
last game, man. GG's,
Nah,
brother.
you good, you good.
Gate,
Good,
nigga.
head up. Let's go outside, mama.
Think. What do I do? What do I do?
Alright, work on this. Turn this off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna unlock this.
I thought I was gonna allow you chose. Like,
Even as honor, I'm still out this bitch.
Oh my God! I have to find
I'm the
help.
king of
Eat your
escaping.
ass.
I'm the king of fucking escaping.
first of all, you're the queen.
Like, come on. Look, she's stuck.
Ice Spice is stuck. Come on, Ice.
Nah, she's stuck. She about to die.
Ice right now.
I don't know, some random.
Come on, Ice. She about to show up ready. Can we hear this?
She's dead.
Can we hear it?
Yeah. He sees her. He sees her. She fucked up. She fucked up. He sees her.
Ice, let's
Please
go,
don't let
Ice.
that
You can do it.
thing come back.
She's done. She just blew her cover.
You're a baddie. You showing your panty.
Go ahead.
You fake it like jelly.
It ain't gonna matter.
That's motherfucking Johnny. He's annoying as fuck.
Wait, can the killers hear us too?
Tell me
Nah.
AFK, why is he not going?
Just the
He's
just
not
the people on
AFK.
your side can hear you? No, I was saying the people that are on our side,
Nah, only the people on our side can hear us.
like in the mic.
Yeah, not right now, but because we're not in game yet.
Oh,
She's dead. If I was Connie, bro, I would have been enough.
this bitch is getting her ass on purpose. No. We need to ask Eddie, like, look down.
She better go. What is she doing? Go!
It's so
Oh, they're gonna say like, it's awesome. You guys playing with it in the back door.
She literally, oh god. Girl, get out of the tree. Mad Mexican.
That's crazy.
No, it's wild. It's been for the last 2 hours.
Literally.
I'm about to tell her to go.
She's forcing
People don't
it.
know how to escape like I do. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm
Shut
smart
the
with
hell
it.
up, nigga.
I'm
Niggas
smart with
never
it.
making it about him. No one's talking about you.
I'm smart with it. Any character.
Helping me go on.
any. I'm nice with any. This is why your boy be gaming, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm just naturally good.
Put it back on the game screen.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just naturally good. You feel what I'm saying? Like, just naturally like that. I'm naturally built like that.
You need to naturally shut the hell up. Yeah, nigga. Fucking Ice Spice, let's go, bitch, dang.
Shit, shit, shit.
Yo. Wow, yo.
That was me. I was going to get it at the end and get out there.
If I was her, I would have went to the other exit. I would have went to the other exit. I'm not gonna lie.
You keep waiting too long. You gotta go now, bitch. Go now.
I went through the timer limit, so like, you know how long people can last.
Yeah, nigga. Yeah, don't cap because she's playing. There should be like a time limit or you just automatically die. This is wild.
Because now she's playing games. Her heart is in this moving her.
Bitch is panicking, bro.
Literally.
Nothing. Come on, Ice.
Turn the generator.
You from the Bronx. You from the Bronx, bitch. Let's go. You should know how to survive more than anybody, nigga. That place is crazy. Here, daddy. Here, daddy. Here, daddy. Let's go, bitch. Here I go. He's fucking, oh my god.
Yup. Okay, now run. Run.
I need to be careful. You might still be near.
Thank you, finally.
Finally, nigga, shit.
Somebody!
Hector was the only one that didn't escape. He was the only one that died. It was Hector.
Nigga died crazy. Level up.
Heck was the only one that died, no cap. R.I.P. to that nigga Hector.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Just get the.
That nigga died by Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes,
Good
he did.
night. Rest in peace.
For some reason, I feel like this would be a good build if I did it. 'Cause I think if I had more stealth on her.
No, nigga. Okay, maybe.
I would have 42 silence. And then
Let me get my string.
I mean, you can always just keep upping your shit. Yeah, start with one.
oh, matter of fact, I would upgrade this. Probably put that to 40. Put in my toughness, as a matter of fact. Because I didn't know that.
What did you turn down though?
Endurance, my speed. Well, let me actually turn that up.
Yeah, nigga, you're bugging. Nah, but you turned down something down there.
Stealth.
Nah, oh, I don't care about that. But fucking endurance, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. That's actually a lot better. Fuck. Forgot the shit I took a picture of earlier. Fucking I can't. That's Connie's stats. And who's this bitch? So I go. And then the perks I should be running. This. So I have that perk now. Alright. I get this blue, and then I get that blue. I get another blue.
Mom, leave me alone. I wanna be famous.
I wanna be famous. My
My
therapist said I have ADHD. I don't even really know what that means. I'm all drugged up. I'm all drugged up.
Hell no. Mom, leave me alone. I wanna be famous.
Famous.
I wanna be famous. I don't even really know what that means.
Shut up. Thank you very much.
Yeah, T. If she cuss you out to you, it's not on me, dog.
No, it's alright. I don't need to talk, nigga. It's gonna get beat the fuck up.
Hi, so many people yell at me. And that's including my mom. Yeah, I really don't.
I'm screaming. Not everybody, mommy. Everybody, mamas. Mamas, baby mamas.
Turn around, I'll beat you
mamas,
up.
Mamas,
What you
mamas.
gonna do? I'll beat you up.
Oh, leave me alone.
Matter of fact, Tyrone, I will fuck you up.
I wanna be famous.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay to what? You know what? Tyrone, I'll fuck you up so bad. I'll tell Abby I'm coming over to fuck you up. That's how bad I'll fuck you up. As a matter of fact, who's in your house right now?
Just me, Lisa, and my mom.
Bet.
She's not here.
I'm gonna tell Lisa I'm coming to fuck you up. Before I go to work. I'm gonna stop by JP. Say hello to Tyrone. And as in my job in your house is like 2 different directions I gotta go.
Wait, why me?
I'm hungry though. I ain't gonna.
I kind of want to stealth on them.
I am most definitely hungry. My account is negative $72.
I don't want to do it.
Damn. That's bad.
Imagine everything gets lagged out again. That would be good.
Hope so.
I'll be right back.
Did I smoke my blunt?
Yeah, you smoked 3 blunts.
The search continues in Muerto County for a missing University of Texas student. The sheriff's department says Maria Flores, a native of Uvalde, was last seen near the town of Newt.
This is my last game, nigga. I got it.
With officials reporting no signs of foul play. Authorities are hopeful that the expanded search into the nearby community.
Should I get some chicken before I go to work? Get some $6 chicken?
Family and friends are urging anyone with information regarding
Huh?
From the gas station?
Nah, the New York fried chicken place.
Everybody?
Everybody.
Where am I? Hey, Sonny, it's me, Connie.
What is going on?
Nah, Sonny's by me right now.
I don't fit in the door.
I found a pit one. I think I know where the change from. Who just woke up, Grandpa? Somebody open the door.
Oh, fuck no. Hold the
I
hell
opened the door already.
Damn, hold on, E.
Huh?
I think there's a delivery coming. I think that cat backpack too.
Oh.
I just happened to look at the notification. I never went outside. Okay, hold up. I'll be right back.
Alright.
You could walk in the door around.
Thank you.
Oh shit, it was in the kitchen. Somebody
Oh.
must have brought it.
Yeah, they must have brought it in
Upstairs.
already.
I think so. Let's see what this shit's doing. Open it up. I forgot I got this shit. To be honest with you. Open the door. Open the door. Come here, Journey. Get in the backpack, bitch. I bought this specifically for you. If you don't like it, I'm gonna be sick. Grandpapa! Where's that meme from?
Get through.
Be famous.
Be famous. I did so day. Journey, get over here and get in the backpack, bitch. Before I fuck you up. This is made for you, and I don't want to hear anything about it. Oh my god.
They
it's
got
so
beat me some
much
shit. I'm
faster.
gonna show you it later.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Wait, the phone is right here, right? Oh, I can just. I forgot where it's FaceTime.
You missed.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you it later.
No, I'm trying to fucking open it. Yeah. Okay, how does this work? Okay, this seems to be the bottom half. Oh, I see. I see.
This might
You
lead
zip
to the
it at the
others.
bottom. Oh, this is cute. And then
Don't
you
leave
put
me
it
alone. I don't wanna
this.
be famous.
Oh my gosh, wait, I turn it on. Ew, look.
Ooh. Hold the
Oh,
door.
I see it.
You see it? It looks like a space bag.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, wait. Alright, now look.
That's dope.
put her in it to see. Come
You're
here,
about to
Journey.
try and put
Get
her
away
in?
from there. Just to see if she fucks with it.
It's open.
Come on. What's the matter?
You died?
I don't know what this is. I can open those doors. I gotta find a way out here.
You like it? I can't simply fast enough. Okay. Look.
Oh, shit.
Hey, yo. So she likes it?
I don't know.
So she's good.
Are they really gone? Just
You wanna come outside?
away,
Oh,
dude.
you look so cute in the background. You look so innocent. I'm about to put you in here when you act bad.
Eh.
I think they
For real.
left.
She's like, oh my god, we can go on trips together. Look.
I ain't gonna lie, teammate and other teammate out.
Huh?
I said other
Oh,
teammate
this is
and
so
them,
cute
they
because
out.
she's not even
Where they
that
out
happy
at?
either.
They're about to go outside to the exit.
Wait, can you see?
Hey, yo, yeah.
Come on, Journey.
I
Not
need
my
to be
ass.
careful. You might still be near.
This is so cute. I probably put some treats in there because she'll probably start crying. Alright, let me get her out before she gets traumatized. Yeah, when you act bad, bitch, you're going right in that backpack. This is a dope ass. She literally can go anywhere with me.
I know.
This is so cute. Now I can take her to your house. And I can put little cat treats in the front. It has zippers to put stuff in.
Oh, it does?
And it has a, it has a pocket in the front and a pocket, 2 pockets on both sides. And then I can always put some stuff inside the bag, like some toys.
Okay.
Oh, that's tough. This is tough. I like this shit. Ugh, another fucking box in there. I'm gonna put it in the kitchen. I mean, she said that Christian would,
Please.
do it if I
Please
put
don't
it
let
the
that
box next to the
thing come
recycle
back.
bin. Took the other one, so. Where are you? In the little box? Okay.
Thank you.
This is my last game, T. If I escape, I'm hoping I escape. Shit.
Nigga, you told me that I couldn't take the remote with me for the bathroom.
Huh?
We need to find some
You
help.
told me I couldn't take the remote out of my room. Check it out. It's in the kitchen. So I'm doing it.
Damn, that hurt.
It requires 2 logs? I'm dead.
Oh, what, the door?
Yeah.
I hear
Fit
them.
in the door.
I'm dead.
I can't get away. Thing.
See what you made me go and do?
Yeah, I'm dead. Alright.
That's what you get.
Ah.
I don't much enjoy being violent, but I got no choice here.
Get away from my ankles, bitch.
I thought they were
Eat your
escaping.
food.
He's dead. They're all dead. We all died. We literally all died. That's crazy. We all died.
Get away from. You done?
Alright, stream. I'm out.